Welcome everybody to the Watch List, your virtual TV guide here every Sunday. We talk about and review all the shows that got released on streaming over the past week. And at the end of the show, we always set you up for you should have queued up for the following week. We got a couple of big weeks coming up. Next week is huge, which is kind of a good and bad thing, but it is the holiday season, so there's a lot of time to catch up on all the shows you want to see and all that. Quick note, we do have at the bottom in the description, you can check out a timestamped every show that we're reviewing. So if you want to skip ahead and watch a particular show's review, you can just find it as timestamped on there, so make it easy for you guys. We got a new show obviously debuted. We got Thanos Choice, which is a very cool debate and have a lot of fun show about debating things between movies and TV, actors, movies versus movies, franchises, etc. Second episode dropping in a couple of days, so look out for that. But let's get on, because this was a busy week. I'm going to introduce my co-host as usual, live from Houston, the ambassador of love himself, is Senor Jaime, a.k.a. Chewy. How you doing?
Hey, brother. I still say I won the debate yesterday, but whatever.
Yeah, we had some good debate. We had yesterday we did Braveheart versus Gladiator, and we did Old School versus Groundhog Day. So look, that'll be dropping in a couple of days.
All the way.
My boy Blue,
yeah,
versus Punxsutawney Phil. So we had a lot of fun with that one. So look out for that in a couple of days. But it's going to this is a big week, and we got even a bigger week next week, which concerns me a little bit. And it's like, damn, the time's got to be allocated accordingly. It is what it is. So as always, let's start with the movies, because I did get a chance to see the King Richard, as did yourself, released same day as theater on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
Yeah, King Richard, of course, the story of Richard Williams.
Richard Williams.
Yeah, the father, of course, tennis greats Venus and Serena Williams. Serena considered probably the greatest of all time in terms of female tennis is concerned. And kind of goes, it's a biopic, I guess. How he going over his how he raised the girls and how he trained them and all the obstacles in front of him to get him to do things his way. He was very controversial to some degree, very boisterous to say the least, unconventional, but it worked. And his girls were a proof of that. Obviously, the success that they each had accordingly. So yeah, this one, I was looking forward to. Like Will Smith, I don't always like the movies that he does, but I always say in Bel Air, I'll chill with him any day of the week.
Movie wise, sure it's not Will Ferrell?
I don't know. It's not Will Ferrell. I'll chill with him too in Bel Air if he swings by. I have no problem with that. But yes, we got Will Smith here playing, of course, Richard Williams, and this is an enjoyable flick, and it's typical kind of sports biopic for the most part. We know what the story's about in terms of the overall scope. Obviously, the details we learn throughout the film. Really well made. I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. Very inspiring, as most sports movies tend to be. That obstacles that they have to overcome, etc. Is done really well. And I gotta say, listen, Will Smith, despite the fact I don't like all his films. I thought this could be a knee-jerk reaction, prisoner of the moment, fine, fair enough, but I thought maybe this is the best I've ever seen him, or one of the best performances he's given me personally. So I really enjoyed it. I think it's one you should definitely watch. Chewy, what you think about this one?
Better than Ali?
I gotta go back and see. Like I said, this might be a prisoner of the moment. It's been a while. But again, knee-jerk reaction. I mean,
I'm not saying you might be wrong.
No, I don't. Maybe you're right. But I mean, just recently, I can definitely say it's the best he's been in the last.
Yeah, because Ali came out a while ago.
Yeah, it's a while back.
As far as recent,
right?
Stuff. Yeah,
a lot more nuance in his performance.
He was the best part of the Academy Award-winning Suicide Squad. For whatever it's worth.
That's neither here nor there. I didn't like it, but I did like Will Smith in that movie, by the way. But just but yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that. But Will Smith's great, and he's great in this film. It's really good, man. What do you think?
I know, I enjoyed it, man. I was looking forward to this. I'd seen the trailers. Obviously, there's certain movies that post-pandemic that I won't probably go pay, but I'm more than happy to stream for free or wait till it comes out on the streaming services, and this is definitely one of them. Kind of hopefully we'll see what happens next year if HBO Max stops doing this, but. Regardless, that was an enjoyable film. It was good. Will Smith was great. Punisher, John Bernthal was really good playing the coach. And it was kind of funny at the end. They had little snippets of the actual people and characters and coaches. And yes, that coach had that bowl cut. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I know. and the stash.
Holy cow!
And the stash.
Yeah, the stash and bowl cut. Yeah. Holy cow!
Yeah,
but. No, but it was interesting. Yeah, I remember, Richard Williams, obviously it's our generation as far as kind of going through this in the 80s and 90s, and him being regarded highly controversial But you looking back, it probably wasn't. I mean, regardless of the results, I mean, it's when you're trying to go against the grain, you get labeled as controversial,
Right.
right? Where you don't do it their way or the way, and that was hammered in the movie. It was like, you don't do this without going through juniors. You don't do this without, and he proved, yes, you can. There is more than one way to succeed in life. It's not just the way that the man says you have to do it, right? So, but regardless, it was a very good film. I enjoyed it. Great story, great acting all around, and definitely recommend.
Yeah, for those of the youngins out there, you can equate Richard Williams to LeVar Ball, right? Who is the father of Lamar Ball, LaMelo Ball.
To a certain extent,
as far as his boisterousness and doing things differently. I mean, he took his kid, LaMelo. He didn't go to college. He put him in pros overseas.
Yeah.
So things like that he did were unconventional, right? Against the grain.
But the prime difference is he wasn't a trailblazer. I mean, there were kids that were doing that path.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna compare,
Richard was definitely in a sport that was definitely trailblazing.
Yeah.
His way of doing it.
Of course not.
Whereas basketball, I mean, apples and oranges.
No,
right?
I'm just comparing just the personality and things like how he was seen, perceived by the public, right? Lamar Ball is a loudmouth and talking about his kids, but two or three kids going to the NBA, so good for him. But and just equating that in today's terms, who you can equate him to, so that will be the comparison. But yeah, good film. Definitely recommend you guys will check that one out. The next one here, this one we finished. We talked about this before a couple weeks ago, and it's Arcane. Being released 3 episodes at a time for 3 weeks. The last 3 dropped.
I like that strategy, by the way, Netflix. Good job.
I do. Yeah, it's a different kind of strategy. They usually just pop them all in there.
Yeah, it's not all at once, and it's not drop a couple and wait one every week. Which for some shows I don't mind waiting a week. I need to digest.
Right, exactly. Especially when a lot of shows come out, gives you time to kind of watch different things. Sometimes you get caught up in binging a certain show because everybody's talking about it or whatever. But I always say, listen, I told Netflix, I'm still waiting for my check, by the way. We still got Squid Game's making money. I haven't seen crap. But I will say this to Netflix. It's just for their purposes. Excuse me. I know as a viewer, it's better to watch. Some people probably think it's better to watch all of them at the same time, and that's fine. But from a marketing standpoint, dude, keep the conversation going, right? Or Squid Game was an anomaly, right? Usually you don't hear the shows being talked about on Netflix for that period of time. Usually it's the weekend it pops up, maybe 2 weeks everyone's talking about it, and it goes away. Right, things like you've seen things like The Boys or Mandalorian or the Marvel shows, they get talked about every single week because every week's a new show. So the water cooler talk springs up again every week, and that helps the marketing. So Netflix, pay attention. But anyway, so Arcane came out. I think it showed that I saw. I think I saw the first 3. You saw the first 2 when we first talked about this. We both recommended the show. Obviously, since I finished them all, I think Chewy not quite there yet. And
I got 2 more to go.
Yeah, and I gotta say, man, this show I think got better as I kept watching it. And dare I say, and this is a rare thing, but I'm close to putting this on the must-watch list for me.
I would put it on the must-watch list.
Yeah, and I know it's animation.
It's already been picked up. I mean, I don't care. I mean, Castlevania was animation. That was a great show. And great animation. And this is, Castlevania. I knew we had played it as young kids back in the Super Nintendo, whatever, original Nintendo and beyond. But with this one, this is also a video game property, which I knew really nothing about. I mean, it had a name or something. I asked my daughter and said, yeah, I've heard of it. But I mean, I'd never seen it. So, this is like Gears of War, where I know the story and I played the game, right? And I'm waiting for a good movie or a TV show based on that property, because that's great. But this is one where it kind of surprised me. Okay, this is new and exposed, but they've explained it and given us some exposition, giving us a story, giving us character development, giving us something to care about some of these characters, and it's really, really good, man.
Yeah, it's very surprising, and I know people out there may not watch animation. Dude, this is a really well-written show, great characters. I like the time jump that happens between the first 3 and the second 3 episodes.
Oh yes,
pushing that story forward, right? Okay, which was the right thing to do.
The first 3 was all set up, and then because we understand where they are, where they came from, to bringing it forward, right? To what's going on now and where it's beginnings and what's happening now as far as with the struggle and the battle between the upper and the lower classes. Really, essentially, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, for the most, and it gave us great characters, really cool action. I love the animation. It's a little unique style, not typical animation you see most of.
Great music.
The music, yes, good call. Music is really good here. Really good choice of songs. It's just such a good show. I mean, it's incredible. The story is so good, so well done. And me seeing the finale, yesterday, it ended really well. It didn't. I don't think it closed. I like everything I had to close the loop and start a new one. I'm not sure if this did that per se. It didn't lower my opinion of the show, but it ended.
And was just renewed for season 2.
Which I'm really happy about because it was an explosive ending. If you haven't seen it yet, you know what I'm talking about.
I know.
But it ended really well. It's really good. I can't recommend this show enough, to be honest. I think this is must watch for me, and you. I'm glad to see you agree with that one as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Another one here that I hadn't talked about on the next week's list last week. That was Kamikaze. Where this is an HBO show. It's a foreign show, Danish show, and HBO's new. They're trying to do this same world rivalry, same day. A lot of European produced shows. This was the first one on the slate. I don't know. Did you see this one? No, out of curiosity.
No, there was just too much to do this week and catching up.
Yeah, I figured there was a lot, so it is what it is. But Kamikaze, it's basically you have a young girl. She's 18 years old. She's very privileged. Parents got money. Living in Denmark, whatever the case is, and. She's guy's like 59,000 followers on Instagram, so she's kind of an influencer and all that. And then her world turns completely upside down when her parents and her brother die in a plane crash in Africa. And she finds out by a text by her father, who he texts her while they're crashing. So that's a really bad way to find out. It's never a good way to find out, but it's brutal. So obviously she's now dealt with the grief and the aftermath of what happened. And they dropped 2 episodes. It's 8 episodes in total, so I'm assuming they're gonna do 2 a week every Tuesday. And it's one I read like good things about. It's only 22 minutes long, 22, 23. So it's a very short watch.
Very short.
Right. So which is a good thing. And the main girl is great. I don't know her name, but she's fantastic in it. And it's funny because the show starts with her. She's got no hair. She's shaved off, and she's flying a little Cessna plane, and she purposely crashes in the middle of a desert. So I guess she was obviously trying to kill herself. She failed. And then now she starts kind of remembering back how it all started, going back to where, the day her parents died and et cetera, and dealing with that grief. And it's actually a pretty good show. I wish there was 3 episodes to really give me an idea of where the show's going. The first 2 is obviously, setting up what happened. And the second one, okay, the aftermath of what occurred. And you have an idea what's going to happen. Obviously, she takes a plane, tries to kill herself. But I'm not sure exactly where the show's going, or the tone of the show. But it's so far, really good. I enjoyed it. It's not great. I'm not saying it's not must watch, but it's a good filler. And on a Tuesday, 22 minutes, you're bored. I mean, it's less than 30 minutes. You can watch an episode and see if you catch or not. Actually, I recommend you just give it a glimpse. It's not fantastic, but it's a well-done show. So I did kind of appreciate what they did there. The next one, Chewy, I'm not sure if you watched or not. And that was Hellbound. Korean show?
I did not.
Okay, so I didn't think you would. Now, Hellbound, this is one where I caught my eye because I don't want to mispronounce the director's name, but it's the guy who did Train to Busan, which is a fantastic, great take on zombies in a train, essentially, right? If you break it down in the most simplest form. But it was so well done. I know the second one came out, he didn't do it, but it wasn't too bad either. But this one here, it's really caught my attention because of him. So I was like, I barely watched the trailers. Like, let me see what he's got going. It's a Korean show, and Korean shows have been hitting it for me. Obviously, we think shows like Kingdom, which we're big fans of, the zombie show. Squid Game obviously was a huge hit over the place. Netflix might check. I'm just saying. My Name's and all that came out recently, which I really enjoyed. So, and this one, the quick premise, we have the basics. So we have, I guess, the people who are individuals randomly are confronted by, I guess, what they're calling an angel, right? They present themselves in front of them, tell them you're gonna die in 3 days, for example, or in a week, or 10 years, or whatever. And most of the times they give you an exact time of when you're gonna die, and then they said you're gonna be hellbound. So you're going to go to hell. So when the time comes, these 3 creatures look like almost like the Incredible Hulk from Marvel, except all smoke gray and kind of smoky as far as the texture. They come out, they pursue you. You can't run away from them. They'll get you. They'll really punish you, to say at least, graphically at times, which is nice. And then they burn you and you go to hell, and then the 3 creatures disappear. Right? So these things are just events that are happening randomly. We have a detective involved trying to figure out what's going on here. We got a lawyer who gets involved in the story. And the main gist of it is that there's an organization called the New Church, right? And this guy behind it, he's a young guy, but he had known about this for about 10 years, maybe longer. And for the last 10 years, he's been warning people, hey, God's decree is coming, because these people are dying, apparently sinners, right? They committed crimes in the past or whatever. So he's preaching to everybody, hey, and now he's got the proof, because now these days you got video, and he's showing people, look what's happening out there. This is legit. it's time for us to be righteous and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it kind of goes from there, and it's almost like 2 seasons in one. First 3 episodes, because at the end of the 3rd episode, this big reveal happens. You're like, oh, okay, because the guy at the new church is not all what he seems to be. We get it. And then something happens, you're like, and that's kind of the thing you see in the final episode. The next 3 episodes, it's a time jump, almost like Arcane to a certain degree. Now we're seeing the repercussions of what's going on, and now how people are really becoming believers of what's happening, because it is legit. They're not making it up, but there is something more to what's going on than what it is. And it's a really good show. I really, really recommend this show. It's borderline most watched for me, to be perfectly honest with you. It's one where, much like, if you truly remember Midnight Mass, where
which I enjoyed.
Right, really good. This one, I thought this was probably better, to be honest with you. This one does touch on this almost same topics, with religion and the dangers of overdoing it and over fanatics, misinterpreting what they see, very similar to like Midnight Mass did. But also touches on a lot of the subjects like misinformation, what that does to the inciting the crowds and etc., which we've seen of recently, and of course in these times is very relevant. It's very well done, very well put together. I really enjoy this one. This for me, I think is one I think you guys should definitely watch. Put on the list. Hopefully, I'm not gonna say it's gonna reach Squid Game levels. It probably won't. But Netflix, if you're saying wear this, I want to get paid for.
Stop it.
Just want to throw it out there. But it's really good. I really enjoyed this show. It's probably my favorite show this week, to be honest, of all the things that I've seen. So I'd highly recommend. The next one, Chewy, the next 2 are going to be yours here. The first one is The Great on Hulu, which we talked about briefly last week. So set us up again. I haven't got a chance to see it. It's a couple busy weeks. I probably won't get to watch it till I'm thinking December.
Much yeah.
So what's The Great and how season 2 just dropped? How's that beginning?
So The Great is basically, I guess, a fictionalization of the rise of Catherine the Great in Russia, right? So obviously she's a historical figure, and but obviously even in the intro, they do The Great, and then they put an asterisk and said they say a mostly true account.
So it's kind of like a Braveheart take. Kind of winning Wallace, which by the way is one of going against Gladiator and Thanos' Choice. Check us out in a couple of days. Go ahead. Cheap plug. Go ahead,
it's probably more comedic and fictionalized than obviously maybe there's a frame. Okay, Catherine the Great. No anything else in between has just been made up. But they play on obviously if you know anything about Catherine the Great, that was a big rumor, but her and a horse, so they play off of that a little bit and stuff, and so they take some comedic. Her husband actually was probably killed, but he's still alive, and played by Nicholas Hoult. So obviously, it's not meant to be historical in any way, shape, or form. But it's very smart. It's very funny. It kind of plays on kind of being she's shown as being a progressive during the 1800s, right? So where it was patriarchal society, right, and all over the world. And so she's come in as becoming empress and trying to change things around, changing religion, changing education, empowering women. So it's taking a modern tone to it, or relative to the history. It's very well written, very smartly written, very well acted by both the main characters, and it's a very, very good watch.
Okay, yeah, there's one I want to go back and check out. Very good things, and you talk well about this one. Again, that one's on Hulu. 2 seasons, I guess now. They
I love the huzzah.
Did they do
every little competition? Huzzah.
Did they do is this like a weekly show, right? Am I wrong in that? I don't know.
No. I can't remember if season 1 was weekly, but they dropped the whole 10 episodes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yesterday or Friday. So
I know Hulu mixes it up with their release scheduling.
Yeah, sometimes most of the time it's weekly. This one did drop the whole thing. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Whatever,
that's fine. Fair enough. The other one quickly, Drew, is one that you popped into me during the week, and that's a documentary on Apple Plus.
God, yes.
Yeah, and that is of course the Line, right? If I'm
the Thin Line.
Okay, the Thin Line. I'm sorry, the Thin Line.
Yeah, the Thin Line on HBO Max. So this is basically the story of the Navy SEAL who was accused and convicted of war crimes in Iraq. I guess they were fighting. So it's relatively recent, right? The 2017, 2018 timeframe. And you may remember the name Gallagher because he was pardoned by the previous administration. And so, but this dives into the whole story. It's a 4-part documentary. Very engaging, very well done. They set up the team. the environment that they're in. They get into and the good thing is they actually have interviews of I can't remember what his title is, but his last name is Gallagher. So he was the guy who was accused and convicted. So he is part of the show, which obviously takes an interesting take. Where most documentaries you just get one side, or you get the players or the victims, and here you're getting the SEAL team. Some of the SEAL team members, some chose not to participate for obvious reasons, right? I mean, this was, what happened was one thing, but obviously the secondary ancillary damage was in some way the betrayal, right? Of this is a close knit SEAL. It's a SEAL team, right? I mean, you're brother, band of brothers, right? In every sense of the word. And to get to a point where it was so bad what he had done that they felt they had to come out and say something, right? And face repercussions, because you don't do this and face repercussions whether you're in the right and the wrong, right? You make a decision to come out with the truth or the facts. They land wherever they're at, but no matter what you do, you're gonna fall on one side or you're gonna fall on the other.
Right. Yeah.
And you'll get damage, collateral damage. From those decisions, whether you're right or wrong or indifferent. But they bring in some of the SEAL teams that were involved, that were witnesses to some of the atrocities. They bring in the guy who was accused and convicted of this. They bring in the family. They bring in text. They bring in everything, footage. I mean, they bring it all. Okay. You see it all. Nice. And so it's a very comprehensive, very well done documentary, and kind of lays out the truth. You make up your mind however you want, right? I'm not here to tell you who you're right, but all I can say was he was, convicted, not in a public, in a U.S. court. This is done through military tribunals, right? Yeah. And it's a little different, right? And dealing with, where you have one team versus the other, and you present the facts and you try to spin it and you bring your experts. In military courts, it's a little different, right? You lay out the facts, you get judged by your peers, and that's that. And so, whatever. But I mean, it's very well done.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, I like a good documentary should always present both sides, right? It shouldn't be biased one way. Just give us information, let us figure out on our own. And we've seen those. Netflix does a great job with that. They have a couple of good ones even recently. But yeah, so okay, and you mentioned I set up a plus, so it's HBO Max. So that's my mistake. It's HBO Max or?
No, this is on Apple Plus.
Okay, I thought I heard you say.
Yes,
okay, so
Plus, yes.
Fair enough. So I'll probably end up catching this one. The next one, the next couple of shows here are the high profile shows of the week. The first one on Netflix was, of course, based off the very popular anime back in the 90s, and that's Cowboy Bebop. This one just dropped. We have seen the trailer. We kind of liked what we saw. And so I'm gonna let you take lead on this before I jump into it. See, I kind of get your thoughts on this one. This doesn't mean it's bad. I just want to kind of get your thoughts.
I don't know what to think yet. I've seen 2 episodes. I wasn't a fanboy of the anime. I mean, I've heard about it, but I wasn't a diehard super fan, right? I thought Cowboy Bebop, cool property. I like what they dive into different things. Live action, always, want to take live action on especially something that's animated or from a comic, right? Mm-hmm. But I 2 episodes in, I'm not sure what to think. I mean, it's interesting. It's different, right? The style, the subject matter, kind of mixture of sci-fi, futuristic, but there's an element of playing record players and high tape players and having cars on other planets. It's kind of weird, right? It's a little juxtaposition of current versus futuristic and kind of mishmashing some idealized view of the universe and or the galaxy at some point. I am not sure. I don't know who the villain is or who the antagonist is. They've kind of shown his organization, a couple of characters, but nothing really that says, "Oh yeah, this is." I care, right? I'm still in the I don't care point. John Cho character is pretty interesting. A little kung fu action. But the other guy, I don't know.
Yeah, I forget his name, but he plays his partner. But yeah. I agree with you. I think he's terrible. I think he's really bad. But just as me. But John Cho obviously, took a break from going to White Castle and all that, and joined the frame space. Just for those, I mean, I know some people are familiar with the property, most people aren't, and it's basically John Cho, he's the bounty hunters. They're known as cowboys, and they get a bounty. They go out there as intergalactic bounties, I guess, if you will. Essentially, what's going on. And I seen 3. So I guess the villain does shape up to some degree in the 3rd episode, Chewy. But I I don't know what I'm watching here. Like, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm just kind of indifferent. I mean, it's got some cool action, cool looking action. The action itself, you know, I'm big on choreography and fight scenes. I'm huge on it. And this one just doesn't have that impact. And we talked about shows and movies too. We've seen good action, like, oh, that hits hard, right? And it seems organic. This one just seems kind of like, I don't know, kind of, they're just dancing around. The impact of these fight scenes aren't quite there. Visually, they're kind of cool looking, and it's a different vibe show, and I guess I'm entertained, but I'm 3 in. I'm like, I'm going to continue watching it. I lightly recommend the show, but the show when it shows lacking Chewy is some kind of real, it's just very thin. You know, it's very surface level show, right? There's no heart here. There's nothing heavy there. You have to hang your head. I don't care what's really going on. Just kind of a couple of guys teaming up and they're getting a bounty.
In the second episode, we start getting a little bit more, right?
A little bit, but
changed his name. Looked like he was shot. He had a wife, and so
first
episode we get a couple images. Second episode, we actually meet the ex-wife, right? Or the wife, whatever.
Right.
But it's not enough for me to be engaged and to care about his character. What is his past?
Exactly.
Right?
And
what's the secret?
And I think that should be established early on. They haven't done that. It's just good. And the next 6-7 episodes could be great. And just judging it thus far is just okay for me. It's fine. I think it's entertaining enough. They're not long. They vary. Some 1 hour, some at 37 minutes, and it's like 50 minutes. So it's weird at times. There's something consistent there, which is fine. But yeah, I'm on the fence on this. Right now it's just filler. Right, maybe it gets better, but I'm not. If you're a fan of, I heard if you're a deep fan of the anime, it's very missed for those people. For the way that's worth. Wow. I don't care. I don't sit on one side of the fence. I just judge it on its own merit. I don't compare it to anything else because that's really not fair. But that's kind of where we're at for that. So yeah. So the next one here, this is another high-profile one, based on again a established property, a book series of books. Amazon Prime dropping Wheel of Time, which I read some of the reviews. People talked about it before, and some people were throwing out Game of Thrones and all that as the next Game of Thrones. And I'll say this: it's early to say that. I'll quote the Great Wolf here. Let's not start sucking each other's dicks just yet. Calm down.
Ooh, deep cut.
Yeah, this is Game of Thrones.
Harvey Keitel. Yeah. Great. That is probably my favorite Harvey Keitel scene in all of his movies.
Oh no, yeah, and I love Harvey Keitel. Yeah, it's fantastic. But yeah, I don't get the Game of Thrones. I guess because it's magic and it takes place in a certain time period. It doesn't make a Game of Thrones. This is more Lord of the Rings. If you're going to compare, this is more Lord of the Rings. I'm not saying it's as good.
I understand. Everybody is trying to develop the next Game of Thrones.
Of course, right? I get it.
And we saw it with Jordan. Who's the next Jordan every year? Oh, this is the next Jordan.
Oh, right. Yeah.
We have Harold Miner. Oh, he's the next Baby Jordan.
Ron Harper.
He was the next. Enough, dude. Let it happen organically. Don't shove it down my mouth saying this is the next Game of Thrones, because the minute you say that,
the expectations.
You lost me.
Yeah, the expectations are raised. Yeah, and yes. Listen, I saw 3 episodes. I've seen 3.
I'll say this. I'll say this. I've seen 2 episodes.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I saw all 3 episodes.
Okay,
right?
As did I. Yes.
First episode, I fell asleep. That's not a good sign.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe it was late. Maybe I was tired. But there was something about the episode. It was a lot of exposition. It was exposition heavy. And for good reason. Sure. I don't know nothing about these books.
Neither do I.
Right? But the development of the characters was bad, in my opinion. Yeah, right. And I love everything, and it was not good. Second episode, okay, it got a whole lot better. All right. And maybe I was awake and more into it, but I was more engaged. I started caring about it, right? As basically the 5 main characters. And they get into trouble and they veer off and they get separated. But I start caring more, right? Because I learn more about who they are.
Sure.
And understand what this world is about, right? First episode was just very superficial and laying out a lot of information. I'm trying to keep up on what's going on and who went with the bad guys. Okay, it's lots. And then episode 3 got a little bit better. So it's getting there, but this is not in any way, shape, or form anywhere near of Game of Thrones. It's just not. It's its own thing. People enjoy the books. Great. You like it. Great. You like it. So be it. But it's got to stand on its own merits, right? It can't be a copy of Game of Thrones because it is not.
Yeah, and it's not trying to be, to be fair. It's not trying to be Game of Thrones. Dragons. Yeah, there's other people, other critics
they
saying
talk about a dragon, but it's not a
Yeah, it's not a
dragon.
dragon. It's just someone they call the moniker of the dragon, but he's not like a
Yeah.
physical dragon himself, which I get. Yeah, so yeah, listen, and this is not them. This is some of the critics I've heard throw. This should never be Game of Thrones should never be thrown around with this by any stretch of the imagination. It just there's nothing. Again, if we want to say Lord of the Rings, sure, because there's more fantasy. You got like these creatures and stuff, magic stuff like that. That is more akin to something like Lord of the Rings, and even kind of the story where there, there's a group of people trying to get somewhere and they kind of get separated. Very Lord of the Rings, slightly. So that's a fair comparison in terms of the story. Yeah, not the quality. Let's get that straight. I'm not saying this is Lord of the Rings. Everybody calm down, right? But yeah, you're right. It was fun. The first episode was actually, the first half was like, you're right. I was like, okay, what is this? Then the second half, it picked up when these creatures come out and start kicking some ass.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay.
At the end.
Yeah, that kind of saved the episode. The second one was really good. The third one was fine. So it's mixed. It's good enough that I'm interested. They need to do a better job of world building here because I still don't know what the hell's really going on. They haven't done a good job of.
No, we don't know where the White Tower is.
Yeah, explaining who these people.
They're opening scene with a witch lady killing a man, but we're in relation to. I mean, obviously, spatially, we don't know where we're at.
Right.
Maybe that's part of.
I think they're doing a poor job setting that up.
With Game of Thrones, we had the intro map, right?
Sure.
We had little places. We know who they were, but we know where all the places were.
Yeah.
Here it's like, okay, I don't know where this guy is in relation to these two rivers, to the guy chasing him. It's like, I need more. I need more.
And introduce these people, and like, okay, who are these guys? So they're doing a poor job of that, and that's important because that's how you give it shit. Right? You're like, oh yeah, these guys. Okay, so maybe they'll do it later, but it's right now it's teetering, and I'm gonna keep watching it. This is one like like Invasion, where okay, I'll give it a shot, and let's let me see some aliens finally. But I think the show's better than that by far. But in the sense that okay, I'm kind of wait and see. I like what I see. It's not bad, right? It's just. If again, when you think Game of expectations there, Game of Thrones, like, well, okay, this must be amazing because Game of Thrones the first 4 or 5 years were fantastic, right? There's no question. And getting from the first episode of Game of Thrones, you're hooked, right, from the beginning. This one, I will never go as far as to say you're gonna get hooked. I think it gains your interest, and then it's a wait and see. This is got the first 3 episodes, and every week they're in 4th, so. We'll see. This is one we may or may not be talking about. Usually we go back and talk about a show after it ends, like Arcane, where it's like this is what we're talking about again. If we're gonna bring this up in 7-8 weeks because it was just okay. Not saying it's bad. It was just okay. So it's a lot of shows to watch. We don't want to waste anybody's time. That being said, Chewy, that was the shows for this week. So let's move on to what's gonna be coming out next week.
Let's mention that. Let's mention before we get to next week that we are going to talk about Foundation just wrapped up this weekend, but we're going to table that for the following show because I think we need to get a deep dive into that.
Yeah, definitely. Ended. I'll probably do that. Yeah, next week because it's a lot. So, and I haven't got a chance to finish the last episode, but next week isn't.
Oh man, it's great. It is great.
No,
Lee Pace is great as brother whatever emperor.
Right. The Empire. Yeah, whatever. I got you.
Yeah, the Empire. And there's this one scene that you're gonna see like, God damn, dude, oh man. So it clearly defines who's good and who's bad here.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I've the show that I've enjoyed more as it's progressed. So again, which is why I never say like Wheel of Time, right? I won't never say don't watch it. There's enough there where it could potentially be something really good. This one, didn't tell me I'm to your screen there. This one is one of those that Foundation was one of those exactly where I was like, okay, and then ended up, this is a must watch as far as I'm concerned. But we'll talk about the ending on that one. But let's set you up here for next week because the next week is packed. Thankfully, most of the shows because of the holiday release on Wednesday, so that gives us time to watch. For the holiday, and we're not working. I'm not anyway. People are off usually Thursday, Friday, Thanksgiving, so there's a lot of time to catch up on these shows. But there's a lot to report on. We have a big show next week in regards. So this is the big stuff that you guys should know about. Starting on the 23rd, we have on Netflix, we got Masters of the Universe Revelations, the second part, or you want to call season 2.
Part 2.
Whatever, fine. Now the show was divisive, to say the least, for various reasons. I enjoyed it. It was on par with a lot of the Netflix animations, right, Drew? I mean, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to it.
I actually like it because it's different. It didn't keep it a kid show anymore. It made it more adult.
Right, exactly. Right? And I think the complaints from the first one, I think that will be solved in the second season. I think a lot of people complained there wasn't enough He-Man in it and all that, whatever. I think this one's going to solve that problem. The next one, Apple Plus, the next day, so on a Wednesday release, dropping, I believe, 2 episodes, maybe 3. Disney Plus usually does 2 or 3, then a week thereafter, and that's Hawkeye, the newest Marvel show. You know, I've
2 episodes.
Okay, yeah, I've enjoyed the shows since. Now I haven't looked. I mean, WandaVision was the weakest one for me, but yeah, this looks cool. It looks entertaining. It's a good kind of action, kind of show. It's Christmas show. Like I like Die Hard, like a Die Hard
I
movie.
knew you were gonna go there.
I'm just saying, listen. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I don't want to tell anybody. It is what it is. I speak facts here on the show. But yeah, it's got the vibe. We got Haley Stanfield's playing. I guess I forgot what the character she's playing, but she's also with the bow and arrow. What do they call those? Archers. There you go. Great shot. So they're teaming up together. Whatever. That looks interesting. Looks fun. I'm looking forward to that one. Same day as well. A lot of these come out the same day. So a lot of shit dropping on that one.
That comes out Wednesday.
I'm very busy this weekend, so it is what it is. True Story. That's on the 24th on Netflix, starring
with Wesley Snipes and Kevin Hart. Yes,
like Wesley Snipes is incredibly underrated.
Limited series.
Yeah, limited series. Yeah, and I think is Kevin Hart's a comedian, in a big stretch.
Yes.
And his brother, he's got an older brother played by Wesley Snipes, who I guess is shady to some degree, and ends up getting Kevin Hart involved in some kind of scheme or whatever, and he's going to be outed and stuff like that. So I didn't get a good sense of what this show.
This is not a comedy.
No, it's not a comedy. No, this is a drama. Yeah. So to see what Kevin Hart can do. But it looked interesting enough. Same guys did Narcos, brought this one. So okay, I'm a fan of.
Awesome.
I'm a fan of Narcos. So absolutely, why not? Again, 24th, same day, HBO Max. We got a movie coming out, 8-Bit Christmas. This looks like nostalgia porn to like the nth degree here.
Oh God.
Yeah, we have
This is aimed at us and our heartstrings, and I think we all remember growing up, wanting to get for Christmas or any holiday the Nintendo, the original Nintendo
NES Entertainment System. Yeah, the original 8-bit.
The NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes, and so this is. The title character is the guy who was in so many shows.
Neil Patrick Harris.
I Met Your Mother. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris.
Doogie Howser.
So he is an adult our age, and he is reminiscing. And with his children, they want this particular toy, and he goes back down memory lane where he was their age and wanting to get an NES for Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's a good family fun, but definitely.
It looks funny. It looks good family. I know when he tells the story, he's like, back in, I think he said he's telling his daughter 1987, and it flashback, and she's like, wasn't it 88 or something? He's like, 88. He's like, late 80s, in the show late 80s. It's that right? Whatever, right? Like it doesn't matter. So this is gonna be heavy nostalgia porn here. So it looks fun. Like I said, it's a film. Same producers that gave you Elf, so I like Elf a lot. So yeah, why not? We got Peacock, the cock, join the fray here. We very talk about the Peacock because they barely drop any shows. And when they do, it's kind of a hit and miss thing. But we got Saved by the Bell, season 2 dropping. And this one,
Zack Attack.
Listen, say this. The show is not good. I like it because again, it's nostalgia porn to some degree. We grew up with Saved by the Bell, right? It has a warm place, a little warm and fuzzies right here. So yeah, and Mario Lopez is there. I just want to see how young he looks. This fucking guy doesn't age, and damn Deal with the Devil he made. We got Elizabeth Berkley, Jesse Spano's there. They do show Zach and
Tiffany Thiessen again making cameo. Mark Gosler.
Right. So
will they bring back Walter? What's his last name? Goskin? No, not Goskin. I'm sorry. The guy
Belding. I thought he was. I know. Lisa Turtle.
They didn't bring her back season 1.
Yeah, Lisa Turtle's supposed to come back in this one. And
yes,
obviously,
I saw that.
Screech is not possible. May rest in peace. But yeah, listen. Listen, the original Saved by the Bell is probably bad too. I just like it because I grew up with it. Let's be honest. So it's not a show I'm saying go run. If you're a fan of Saved by the Bell, watch it. If not, I probably wouldn't. But we'll talk about that second season when that comes out. But I'm looking forward to it because again, I'm just a Saved by the Bell guy, for whatever that's worth. The last 2 here, we got Amazon Prime. We got all the platforms joining the fray here. Hannah, season 3. Dropping again.
Final season.
Final season. Sorry.
Season 3 or season 4? I lost track.
It's 3. Season 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so this is the final season.
Okay, final season on Amazon Prime. Hannah's based off of a movie. It's obviously a little girl who was trained to be a badass and a spy assassin, and she's on her own. She escapes on her own, and going after her. Right, the powers that be are going after her to kind of keep her quiet or whatever. Cool show. Season 1 I really liked. Season 2 has some issues early on. Speaking of Saved by the Bell, but yeah, and then it kind of got better the latter half of the season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't seen the trailer, but I don't need to see a trailer. If you're a fan of Hannah, it's a good show, I think we're looking forward to it. This is one this is good filler, right? in terms of the
I
first two
think so,
seasons.
yeah.
Good filler. The last one here, this is a Netflix. We always got it. I'm sorry, I had HBO Max here. That's my mistake. It's actually on Netflix again on the 24th. Nothing's dropping over the weekend apparently, so it is what it is. But yeah, so this one is Mark Millar. Mark Miller. I'm sorry, I don't know how.
Yes, Super
Yeah, Super Crooks. Yeah, it's an animated show.
Mark Miller,
Mark
yes,
Miller.
not
Yeah,
Millar,
I keep
Mark
thinking
Miller.
Millar, but it's Miller. Yeah, I think it's kind of based out of the same universe as Jupiter's Legacy. Don't
That is
don't
correct.
hold it
Yes.
against it because I know the show wasn't very popular. I wasn't a huge fan either. But this was animated, kind of
Haters.
focusing on crooks, thieves who have superpowers and using them for their own purposes, their own gain. And it's kind of a heist thing, which, what you like about heists.
You son of a
I'm
bitch.
in. So, okay. And then they're going up against, I guess, other super villains who are trying to stop them. So it's got a different tone, different kind of, story behind it. It's not going to be the superhero trying to stop the crooks. It's other villains trying to stop these crooks, apparently. So, interesting take on that. It looks cool, true. I mean, you've seen the trailer. I mean, what do you feel about this one?
No, I haven't
Oh,
seen
you
the
haven't seen the trailer?
trailer.
I thought you
I
saw the
haven't seen
trailer.
the trailer,
Okay.
so I'm just looking forward
Yeah, I
to
saw
it.
the
Yeah.
trailer. Looked interesting enough. Again, it's animated. I know, oh my God, people don't like animated, but trust me, it doesn't mean anything. It's good. Arcane's a great example of why you should give animation a shot at the end of the day. And even, what's the other one? Amazon Prime, Chewy?
Castlevania
No,
or
Amazon Prime.
which one?
Invincible and Amazon Prime.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, Invincible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
Invincible.
Invincible,
Sorry.
yeah,
That
which
was
is great.
Yeah.
So that's another one. If you guys looking for something to watch animated, that one's awesome. But yeah, so that's next week. So that's I think 7 shows. That's a lot.
There was actually one show, but it's more of a game show. So it's not a show. But if you're a fan of Harry Potter and the Harry Potter world, there's a game show dropping on. I think it's on TBS, Cartoon Network. It's a 4-parter, and basically it's a Harry Potter trivia. Obviously, to coincide with the 20th anniversary of the release of the first movie.
Okay.
I mean, it's been 20 years. Wow.
Yeah, I
And
know.
so, obviously, I'm a big Potterhead, and then I know lots of people are into Harry Potter and Harry Potter lore. So it should be pretty
Yeah, and then
interesting.
they just announced they're doing like a Friends-like reunion, but with Harry Potter.
Yes, on
January 1st.
HBO
Yeah,
Max. That's right. For January 1st.
yeah, bring back
Yes,
all
as
the
well.
all the old
So,
cast and all that. And I'm sure Potterheads should have watched that. Friends was very successful for HBO Max in terms of that drop. So this is going to be equally successful. So yeah, that's coming. I will probably talk about that. Next year, January 1st.
absolutely.
But yeah, so do it as Chewy. So huge week next week. We'll try to get to all these shows. Even if it's 1 or 2 episodes. I mean, not, some of them don't all drop at the same time, so that's gives us more breathing room. But yeah, so it's a lot to look forward to. But a good week. Yeah, listen, guys. Hellbound. I highly recommend Hellbound. Highly recommend Arcane. King Williams, King Richard. Is it King Richard? Yeah.
King
Yeah,
Richard.
really good. Wheel of Time. Watch it at your own peril. I'm not saying it's bad. The Thin Line, very good apparently. Cowboy
Very watch.
Bebop. Want to judge for yourself. Catch a couple episodes, see if it's kind of your cup of
That's
tea
your own
or
peril.
not. Right. But that being said, Chewy, there we go. So again, guys, we appreciate it. Don't forget, we got Nurse Planning on the channel. We got Thanos' Choice coming out. First episode's already out. Second one, Gladiator, Braveheart discussion. That will be dropping in a couple of days. Appreciate it. Subscribe as always. Comment below. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.